Full and uncut versions available on Patreon. Check in the description below.
Greetings once again, Pokemaniacs. Duuz-Diz-Din back again with more. Wait, what does it say over there? Pokemon Ranger? Pokemon Ranger! Yes, you might be questioning why I'm checking out Pokemon Ranger, considering I was checking out Pokemon Adventures or the Pokemon Special, but this is made by the same team that works on the books. Same writer, same illustrator, and apparently a bit of a connection to the Pokemon Adventures manga. Now, apparently it's not very big, but I hear that there is a connection, and I figured, why not? That's just kind of the guy I am. And while I never played the Pokemon Ranger games, no, not a one. I think I tested it out like once in like a GameStop or something like that, but I never really played the games. But I did enjoy it when one of the Pokemon Rangers would appear from time to time. I think the female character in this, who was from the first game, actually appeared in the anime. She had like a Plusle-Minun, and then you had the one blonde-haired dude who appeared in the Temple of the Sea movie, which I actually really enjoyed. My only gripe that ever came with the Pokemon Rangers, while it made a lot of sense, hey, a Pokemon kind of police force or a conservation force and all that, they never really seemed to have Pokemon of their own. From what I could remember, they mostly just used their capture devices in order to bring in wild Pokemon temporarily. Which, well, not the worst thing, it's just like, I don't know, I feel like you should be mostly using your own Pokemon for this line of work, but that's neither here nor there. From what I know, there were 3 Pokemon Rangers games, and only 2 of them were adapted. So once certain things kind of align in terms of time frame with that manga, we'll check that one out too. But for now, let's check out the 5 chapters, or episodes as they're called, of the Pokemon Rangers manga. Now, some names will be in Japanese, but I will try to translate them to English, as that's mostly what we've been doing for the Pokemon Adventures manga. You know, we call characters Misty and Brock and not their Japanese equivalent, so I'll try my best to kind of stay on the ball with that, but no guarantees. So join me as I take a ride with the Pokemon Rangers, won't you? Alright, so we pick up with a young man who seems to be called Cameron, flying on his Pelipper over the ocean. He spots an egg-like object and says, "Found it! Just like Leader showed us, this luminous body that's releasing energy. Even so, just what is this thing? It's so pretty, like a miniature ocean, this luminous body. Hello, Spencer? It's here. We found it." Spencer says, "That's great, Cameron. Hurry and return to Professor Hastings. He'll be glad to investigate it. Sorry, Spencer. I've been so selfish and gone solo while everyone's challenging the mission." Spencer says, "Don't worry about it. We have Joel and Aelita here, too." Cameron says, "That's true. There are 3 leaders who can take leadership in the Ranger base. There aren't any missions you can't clear. Come and see this after you're done." And he takes off. Meanwhile, Spencer, Joel, and Aelita get ready with their Pokemon, a Sparrow, a Dodrio, and a Skarmory. Spencer says, "Now then, let's tidy up things on our side." The narration then reads, "That night in Fall City, we see a fire going off in a building. A young girl is coughing in the smoke, saying, 'Help me,' as we see the Pokemon Ranger Lunik arriving on the scene. He says, 'Whoa, just as I thought. It's pretty tall, but that's okay. That's why these Pokemon I captured are here,' as he's managed to capture a Heracross and a Tangela. He says, 'I'm counting on you, all in one swoop,' as we see a Minun on his shoulder. He says, 'First up is Heracross.' Heracross spots a downed tree and uses his immense strength in order to bring the tree over to the building. Lunik then says, 'All right,' and proceeds to run up it. As he gets to the top of the tree, just a little under where the young girl is, he says, 'There we go. Too bad. We could have reached it with a little more.' In that case, next up is Tangela, and Tangela sends out its vines, wrapping them around Lunik and hoisting him up to the young girl. Lunik says, 'Good evening. You're Iori of Fall City.' The girl says, 'Yes.' Lunik says, 'The one who contacted the Ranger base?' She says, 'Yes.' He says, 'Then you're the one who asked for this mission?' She says, 'Yes.' Like, dude. He says, okay, I came to save you. Don't worry. And he picks up Iori and proceeds to bring her down the stairs and carefully puts her down, saying, "Whew, now that we're here, you should be fine. Are you okay?" He says, "Yes, thank you very much." Lunix says, "No." He then gets a call saying, "Oops, signal. Hello?" And a voice screams Lunix's name. He says, "Uh-oh." The woman on the other line says, "Not showing up without even telling me? Did you forget about today? The date?" Lunix says, sorry. The girl says, "I have already been waiting for 40 minutes. Just where are you? And what are you doing right now?" Lunix says, "Well, some emergency work showed up." The girl says, "Work? Is your work more important than our promise?" See, that's how you know she's not a real one. Because he's out here saving lives, man. If she can't even understand that, then again, maybe it's a situation where he's constantly having to do that and is never able to just take any time off. So in that case, yeah, it might be time to break things off. Just love the Biden's face there. Link says, "Well, that is disaster and trouble come regardless of people's plans, right? It's that kind of work." So the girl says, "I've had enough. I'm over with you. Please do not contact me ever again. Good day." And she hangs up. The young girl Iori says, "Are you alright?" Lunix says, "Who knows? I was just dumped after all. I've lost 12 times in a row in the matches of love. But when it comes to missions, I'm on a 103 win streak." I mean, hey, there you go. Though calculating it is a little bit much. Mary says, "I feel sorry. Somehow, since I made the request and all." Lunix bends over saying, No, it's completely okay. Completely okay. Landslides causing roads to get blocked, huge rains that cause rivers to flood. Those kinds of suddenly occurring disasters are things you can't predict, girl. Besides, my job involves saving people. 1 or 2 dates can. But the building starts to burst into flames, and he says, "Oops, the fire's already reached this area. Let's get out of the building first. Hold on tight." Okay, I didn't realize that they were still in the building for a second there. And with incredible agility, he picks up Iori and manages to run her out of there, dodging debris all along the way. She says, "Awesome. You got so high up by yourself earlier." Lunix says, "By myself? That's not true." Iori questions this, but Lunix says, "I didn't do it with my own power. My job involves borrowing power from other Pokemon. Alright, let's extinguish this fire. Oh, before that, Heracross, Tangela, thanks for helping out." And the 2 Pokemon take off. Iori says, You let them go? They aren't your Pokemon?" Lunix says, Huh? You requested us, but you don't know about Rangers or about releasing? If you live in the Fiore region, everyone should know it, you know? Maybe." He checks the information on her and says, "You came from a faraway region and arrived at Fiore just recently, haven't you?" Fiore says, "Yes. The region I lived in earlier had trainers, but not rangers." Lunix says, "I see." He then, I don't know if he captures it or if it was already there, but we see a crocodile. Lunix says, "Then I'll show you how the occupation of a ranger works." He sets her down and says, "What Pokemon in this scene can I borrow some power from?" He spots the crocodile and says, "There." He then sends out his capture device. I do remember that. And Iori questions, "What's that?" Lunix tells her, "This is a capture. The dish shoots out of this capture styler, envelops the Pokemon there. With this, you try to tell the Pokemon your feelings, then you can borrow his powers for a while. Just like Heracross and Tangela earlier." Lunix manages to do the capture with the crocodile. That is a crocodile, right? I don't want to keep saying that and it's not. Yeah, it's a crocodile. And Lunix says, "Alright, I'm counting on you, crocodile." Crocodile starts blasting water along the path that Lunix is traveling. He says, "Alright, next is inside." But some debris falls towards Lunix. Iori screams as the debris hits Lunix's his arm, but Crocodile shoots it, blasting it off of him. Lunix says, "Nice follow." Right, next one. Here too. Good job. He high-fives Crocodile, saying, "Yeah, you did it. You extinguished all the fire." Iori says, Even though you saved me, this might sound rude, but." Lunix questions what she's asking. And Iori says, "Why do you put yourself in so much danger? You could just leave it to the firefighters or the relief aid or the Pokemon. I get scared when I watch you getting dumped by your girlfriend and then putting your life in danger. Even though you say it's work." Lunix at first doesn't know how to respond, but as he waves away the crocodile saying, "Thank you," he tells her, on top of depending on the Pokemon who just happened to be there. Oh, it's Iori. On top of depending on the Pokemon who just happen to be there, you put yourself in danger. When you want to get out of the situation first, Luke says the region you come from have people called trainers. They take their Pokemon from their homes, raise them, and strengthen them, right? With those things called Pokeballs. We're completely different. They must have a lot of contact with their Pokemon. After we Rangers have them cooperate with us for a short time, we immediately release them. The only ones who follow me around is mine, and that's the rule. I didn't realize it was a completely different region. Rangers think of this land and the Pokemon as part of nature. As a part of nature, we want to keep it as such whenever we can. I love this nature. To protect it, I'll use myself to do it. It's that kind of occupation being a ranger. Iori listens, smiling. Linux says, oops, Ranger Code 215 states, after extinguishing a fire from a location, wait a minimum of 30 minutes and confirm the extinguishment. But if we have to wait 30 minutes, then we might get bored. Should we train Minun? And he and Minun do some handstands and start doing hand press-ups. Like, Jesus, the upper body strength. Linux goes, 1, 2. And Iori says, may I ask what your name is? He says, sure. Pokemon Ranger Lunik. Of the Ranger Union in Ringtown, Ranger Class 10. Born May 8th, 16 years old, blood type O. My blood type is B negative, and I always am. Freaking Ringtown. Don't bother, boy. It's Ringtown. I know, a lot of you ain't gonna get that joke. My hobby is helping people. Oh, good kid. And he's only 16, you know. I thought the Rangers were all like adults. And now the familiar face I see calls in. As he gets a call, Iori says, it's not from your girlfriend? Didn't she tell you she would never make contact again? Lunik answers saying, yes, Lunik over here. And, what's her name? Solana. She was in the, she was the one who met with Ash in the anime. Says, I have to go over the Japanese name. It's Solana. Situation report, please. Lunik turns to Iori saying, it's a girl, but she's a coworker. Solana questions this, but Lunik says, no, don't mind that. I've extinguished the fire in the building and the client is safe too. Solana says, good work. But actually, Ranger Base isn't on that right now. Stay calm and listen to this. You know that today, Ringtown's leader, Spencer, went on a mission, right? The one he was after was Deoxys. Oh, and one of my favorite Pokemon, Deoxys. Again, the Destiny Deoxys movie did a lot for me. And it says something, given the fact that I didn't actually play Emerald, where both Rayquaza and Deoxys actually appeared in predominantly. So the fact that they're two of my favorite legendaries is like... It's kind of wild. Solana says, it's more dangerous than they expected. They tried to contact us because they were having a hard time, but after that the reception got cut off. Lunik asks, so what happened? Solana tells him the mission failed. Not just Spencer, but Joel and Alita, all of three of them, Ringtown, Fire City, and Windtown's leaders, all of them were defeated. I mean, you can see it plain and simple. They got their butts whooped. Okay, freaking Deoxys. Interesting. Yeah, I don't really know too much about how these Rangers operate, but it's interesting to see Deoxys in the mix. Okay. All right, Chapter 2. Episode 2, I should say. We pick up at the Ranger Union at Ringtown Ranger Base. Lunik and Solana are looking at a monitor Lunik saying, these are records left inside lead ranger Joel's capture styler? Solana says, yes, Lunik. This is a replay of what we could recover at the location. It drove them back with overwhelming power. Ringtown, Fall City, and Windtown's leaders all failed the mission. Lunik looks over saying the capture stylers were destroyed too, eh? A voice calls out, that's right. I was surprised to see that at first, too. They turn with their Plusle Minor and see Professor Hastings. The professor says, seriously, if you didn't tell me he was part of the good guys, I'd think he was a bad guy. He points to this capture styler, the destroyed one, with his cane, saying, even though the capture styler is broken, it wasn't because of critical or damaging blow. Just as you already know, the capture styler encircles Pokemon by controlling the capture disk. The energy line the disk creates when it's let out is called the capture line, but if the capture line is cut during capture, what happened? The energy adversely affects the capture stylus and damages it severely. So Liana says, so that kept happening. Linux says, and the capture styler was destroyed from the inside. Professor Hastings says, yes. It's a frightening development. A few days ago, the plans for a new model of the capture styler were stolen. Bad things keep happening one after another. Lunik, Soliana, Spencer, and the others are currently hospitalized. Since the leaders are out of action, we must put our hopes on you. Only you rank 10 Rangers. He points to them saying, therefore, this is an order. I want you to finish the mission that your fallen leaders were unable to complete. They give a salute, saying, as he says, successfully captured the Oxus. They say, Roger. While Plusle and Minen jump in the air as they make their way out. Hastings says, oh, Soliana, wait for a moment. He turns, saying yes. He says, one more thing. If you get contact from Summerland's leader, Cameron, on the way, please let me know as well. Soliana questions Cameron. Professor Hastings says, yes, he said he wanted to show me something, so I've been waiting here to meet him. But our transmission has been cut off. Soliana says, I understand. She then goes to the monitor saying, then Professor, please watch over this girl. The professor says, who? Soliana says, just a short while ago, Lunik saved this client as a mission. We're sheltering her here for now, but no one in the ranger base will stay with her, so she's probably feeling discouraged. She points to him saying, we're counting on you. Hastings gives a salute saying, Roger. Why me? As they go on their way, they're observed from high above by Garrett of the Go Rock Quads. I don't know what that means. Oh no, they're talking to Garrett. Clyde? Oh, Tiffany. No. Oh no, one of the Go Rock Quads says, hello Garrett, it's me, just as planned. 2 rank 10 Rangers have come out of the Ringtown Ranger base. And Garrett, who I know because that's who they talk to, says, okay, I sent Tiffany around Kurok Tunnel. This is going to be hard because they all look the same. It is according to plan. Should we meet up playing the guitar? The heck? We then cut to Lyra Forest, where Linux says, around here, Solana? Solana says, to be exact, it should be around the entrance to Kuroka Tunnel. So just a little further. Linux says, even so, capturing all these Pokemon on the way, which, man, it's just a horde of Pokemon. Okay, so from what I can make out in the crowd, we have a Swellow, a Houndoom, and a Gengar. Those are my favorite Pokemon that I can make out from that massive crowd that they captured. Jeez. Solana says, it's fine like this. What about you? What do you know about the Pokemon Deoxys? Linux says, nothing. Solana says, even though you're always bragging, there's nothing I don't know when it comes to Pokemon. But then she says, I don't know either, which takes Ludic off guard. Solana says, Deoxys is a pretty rare Pokemon, and there isn't much data about it in Ranger Base. That's why it's fine to over-prepare. Yeah, she has a bit of a point there, but even still, acting all high and mighty. Link says, that's how it is. Solana says, that's how it is. Plus, it has an important special feature that you wouldn't know from watching the records in the capture styler. First off, it can change its appearance and power. Linux questions, change? She says, right. This is something that we've been trying to think through. It doesn't follow the common sense of capturing, according to Professor Professor Hastings. I actually did it. I'd have been pretty decent about it. Second, it's abnormally sensitive to what's happening in its surroundings and easily provoked. We're not sure why, but it's not normal. At any rate, it'll put a lot of humans and Pokemon in danger. That's why the professor sent us out so hurriedly. Lunik, isn't Spencer the ranger you look up to? Had to think about that. Lunik says, yeah. The Solana says, then isn't this a chance to show him what you're made of? You capture the Pokemon that even Spencer couldn't capture. There's no better way to show your attachment to your master. The things you wrote in the 7 letters you sent to Spencer would become reality. How do you know all this? Does he just brag? But Linux senses something and says, Solana, jump! And that he manages to get her out of the way as something crashes just behind them. As the dust clears, oh god, he's already here! The Deoxys just appears out of nowhere, much to the shock of Lunik, Solana, and all the Pokemon. Lunik says, this is... And Solana says, Deoxys. Lunik says, you said it changes forms and powers. But what's the situation as Deoxys changes into its speed form? Is that the speed form or is it the attack form? Yeah, that's definitely speed form, I think. No, that's the attack form. Okay, nope. That's the attack form. I had to double check real quick. No, but then it switches into speed form. No, that's still the attack form, but it's speeding off. Okay. It speeds towards a cave. Linux says it changed form. Solana says it entered Kroka Tunnel. Fall City is after the tunnel. If it gets into the city, it'll be big trouble. Solana brings out her capture device saying, first to inspect the opponent's movements. We'll give it one try. Capture on. He shoots out the capture disc, but as it starts to try to surround him, Deoxys changes to defense form, swatting away the disc. Solana sends one more time, and she tries to capture it again, but now it changes into its speed form to get out of the way. Lunik says, I see. Just as we heard, it's tough, but we're pros too. We'll definitely succeed on this mission. Borrow the power from the Pokemon we just captured. He calls out for Trico, and he tells it to send your power to the disc, and Trico does just that. Solana says the Pokemon assists Lunik? He says, yeah. This disc now contains the power to grow grass from the ground thanks to, Trico. There we go. Assist the capture and stop the opponent's movement. I'm counting on you. All in one swoop. And so the capture grows out a massive barrage wall of grass. But Deoxys just cuts right on through it, sending a jolt right back to Lunik. Solana calls out to Lunik as Lunik says, he cut the capture line. With that caliber, someone says, with that caliber, you won't be able to capture Deoxys, but you were close. Deoxys in its speed form right now, a form that allows it to its movements to accelerate. If it was in a different form, it would have worked, perhaps. Oh no. It's Tiffany. Yeah, we see her up on a bit of rock playing the violin. Linux says here, Tiffany says, one of the 4 siblings of Team Go Rock. Tiffany. Solana says, Team Go Rock? Linux says, aren't you the evil organization that always interferes with the Rangers? Bit of a typo there. Tiffany says, my. Even though you got dumped last night, you're already with another girl? You're quite social. Solana says, girlfriend? I'm just a co-worker. Hey, Lunik, why are you talking about that with Team Go Rock? Lunik says, how would I know? Tiffany says, you don't get it. Then I'll tell you, Lunik. Hey, is that the girl he was dating? he was secretly dating her? Jeez, that's kind of messed up. Much to Lunik's shock, Tiffany takes off the wig saying, get it? This plan started 2 days ago. The leader of Team Go Rock began by trying to take the energy form, but our leader was unable to capture it at the exact location. So we relied on you Rangers. We thought that the Ranger-based leaders should be able to find the energy form. But a voice calls out, seriously, I can't tell these people apart. Garrett says, sure enough, it was just as we thought. To capture the energy form, we just needed the Rangers with real power to halt it. I provoked Deoxys and got all the leaders in one big hall. Tiffany says, just in case, I made sure you Class 10 guys weren't sent out. But Lunik, you skipped out on our date. Link says, so that was it. I'm glad I didn't go, though it just happened that way. Solana says, so that means you used the Rangers to get the energy form? That item Cameron wanted to send to Professor Hastings. Okay, I'm starting to see the differences in them. Clyde says, good conjecture. Just as you guessed. As he's lifting Cameron above his head like it's nothing, and then throws him to the ground, saying, this is how it is. Lunik and Solana call out to Cameron. Oh, but suddenly they're restrained by Deoxys, much to their surprise as they look back. And the last of the Go Rock quads makes the scene. It's Billy! He says, good job. Oh no, Billy. Oh wait, no, Garrett, Clyde, Tiffany. They say, brother. Well, Billy says, it's ours. Menfi's egg. Wait, so it's just Temple of the Sea all over again. They're after the Menfi egg? Wait a minute. As Lunik and Solana are restrained by Deoxys, they're confronted by the Go Rock Quad. Wait, does Clyde have a friggin' drum? Wait, what do you even call that? Called a djembe? Yeah, it's like a freaking African drum. What? Why that one specifically? I do not understand. Okay, Billy seems to be the leader, and he has a regular guitar. Tiffany has a violin. Clyde has a freaking drum, one drum. Does Garrett have a bass guitar? Yeah, he does have a bass guitar. Okay, cool. That's an interesting band you got going on here. Alana calls out the four members of Team Go Rock, and they're called the Go Rock Quads. Plural. Wait. Oh, they're siblings. Oh, that's why they look so similar, especially in the art for the game. The one female member says, I'm the eldest daughter, Tiffany. The biggest one says, I'm the youngest brother, Clyde. The prettier looking one says, I'm the middle brother, Garrett. There we go. Had to think of the name. All the big ones, the shortest looking one, honestly, with the wildest hair, says, and finally, the eldest brother, Billy. Together, we're the four Go Rock Quad, who operate and lead Team Go Rock. When the four of us gather, even Class 10 Rangers won't be able to lay a finger on us. Understand? Clyde says, can't get enough. We siblings are an ensemble. Solana says, the middle brother provoked Deoxys and defeated the three leaders. The eldest sister approached Lunac, and the third brother took that opportunity to attack Spencer. The one who strategized everything in the shadows was the eldest brother. Is that how it is? Lunac says, and with that plan, the object they obtained, and Billy holds up the egg of Manphy. Solana says, the energy form Cameron found and wanted to show Professor Hastings. Lunac says those guys called it Manphy's egg. What do you plan to do with it? Clyde says, are you guys idiots? We got it, so we're gonna hatch it, of course. It's an egg, so it's gonna hatch, duh. The Phantom Pokemon Manphy is gonna hatch from this egg. It just keeps repeating over and over again. Garrett says, right. If you're asking how it's gonna hatch, but they're interrupted by Billy strumming his guitar as he says, you're saying too much, Garrett, Clyde. They shriek in terror as Garrett says, sorry, bro. Now, Billy says, now. We finished the plan. Tiffany, take the egg and go ahead to the secret hideout. Tiffany grabs the Manphy egg saying, okay, bro. She blows a kiss to Lunac saying, see you, Lunac. Or Looney. Probably gave him the nickname Looney. She jumps on her camera up saying, let's go. Well, Solana screams out, wait. Well, Lunac says, calm down, Solana. He whispers in her ear, saying, we're pros. We'll definitely succeed on this mission. In addition to our mission to capture Deoxys, we've ended up taking on a mission to take back the important egg as well. In other words, a double mission. So that's where the double mission comes into play. Okay. Keeping in mind all the English terminology, it's just like, okay, that's where things add up. Solana says, yeah. As the remaining siblings go to walk away, Billy says, now, we don't have any reason to stay here. Let's go. Garrett says, Deoxys, you're free to rampage as you please. Heck, you could destroy a city or two if you want. As he strums his bass, Deoxys then puts the squeeze on Lunac and Solana. Lunac says, Solana, where's the disc you were using to test the capture? Solana says, it's still turning over there. Yeah, it freaking looks like a Beyblade. I kept thinking that for the longest time. They should have partnered with Beyblade when it came to this. Lunac says, the disc with the grass Pokemon asset is there too. A Poke asset is there too. You use your styler? Solana says, yeah. Lunac says, then when I say return the disc, now, he thinks disc return, and their discs both come back towards them, jumping up in the air and towards Deoxys' face. Deoxys releases the two and goes to defend, knocking away the disc, but Lunac and Solana grab their discs, hitting the ground. Lunac says, all right, go, Solana. Go after the eldest sister. Well, they say eldest sister, but it's just a sister. Go after the sister, the one with the egg. Leave capturing Deoxys to me. A double mission with the two of us. Solana, who has some really nice legs. I'm sorry, look, man. The artist knows how to draw some legs. And did it look like she had bare legs in her artwork? Yes, it did. Days. Oh, okay. In the anime, they gave her pants. Okay. I'm just like, man, I am really noticing her thighs right now. Like, there's some rockin' thighs. And to a certain degree, they were on display in the anime. Okay. It's interesting that they changed up her design a little bit. But Lunik readies his capture device. But suddenly, he's approached, by Clyde and Garrett. Garrett says, so you distracted Deoxys by returning your disc in order to escape. Linux says, that's right. Clyde sits on the ground with his drum saying, we already said it, didn't we, Garrett? We told the Pokemon Rampage all you want. So what's with this? Looks like in order to have it rampage, you have to stick around and command you. And so, they use their instruments to command the Pokemon. I thought that was just aesthetically, but yeah. No, he bangs on his drum and commands Deoxys, and it lunges in to attack Lunik. But Lunik, with his amazing leg strength, just jumps right on over. Lunik lands, saying, alright, this time I'll use an ice poke asset. He calls upon the power of Glalie and sends out his capture device, creating a massive ring of ice around Deoxys. But Clyde says, your ice will just get smashed to pieces. Deoxys. Clyde bangs on his drum, and Deoxys uses his attack form to smash through the ice. Link says, what? Ice is no good. He then calls upon the power of Quailava, and Lunik sends out Flame Poke Asset, circling around Deoxys. But Garrett says, won't work, as he strums on his bass guitar, and as Deoxys shifts into its defense form, which once again sends feedback towards Lunik. Lunik says, not good. Every time the capture line gets cut, the energy adversely affects the styler and damage it from the inside. At this rate, but Garrett calls out, you're worried about your styler will break like Spencer, Joel, and Alita's did, Lunik. But you see, Lunik, we four siblings team Go Rock are well known for not going easy on people. Oh, it's Billy saying that. When we see you worrying about your styler, we want to cause even more damage. As he sends in a Tyranitar that knocks Lunik back. Lunik drops his disc before Billy. As Billy says, let alone the styler. If we destroyed the disc, it'd be the most cruel end. As Billy has the Tyranitar stomp on the disc right in front of Lunik. Meanwhile, Tiffany on her camera is making her way playing her violin, saying, we finally got it, Manphy's egg. We're headed to Shinkura Mountain Range, our secret hideout. Why would you announce that? Sakura Mountain Range. Okay. It's a good thing a lot of these things sound the same in both English and Japanese. Sakura Mountain Range. But suddenly a whirlwind stops Tiffany's camera up dead in its track. Tiffany turns, saying a flying tornado? Well, Solano, along with a Swellow, says, that's right. It's this Swellows. I came after you to get back that egg. Tiffany jumps off a camera up saying, oh, you're pretty good. Solana says, thanks for the compliment. Now hand over the egg. Tiffany says, oh my, what egg? Tiffany isn't holding anything. As she fans out her little jacket, Solana looks around and says, there, sending the Swallow into action. Oh, Parasect. It was secretly hiding the egg. So Swallow blows away the Parasect's cover, knocking it back. Solana says, I knew it. You tried to mimic the surroundings with and get away with the egg. Tiffany says, persistent woman, will burn you black. Camera Up, and Solana says that Camera Up must be listening to you against his own will, right? I release it. She turns to a Wurmple and asks for a bug poke asset, please. And the Camera Up gets stickified, as well as Tiffany. Tiffany says, ew, what's with this gooey stuff? Oh, we get a little PG-13. Tiffany says, you borrowed that Wurmple's power and used the disc, eh? Geez, annoying, annoying, annoying. She plays her violin and sends the Camera Up into a rage, causing it to erupt, knocking away all the stickiness right towards Solana, which hits her, trapping her in the stickiness too. Solana says, oh wow, actions that surpass even us rangers. How do we get past a combination like this? But as Tiffany continues to play her violin, Solana comes to a realization saying, now that I think of it, that song's been playing continuously for a while. It's the instrument relaying the feelings towards the Pokemon. Tiffany says, so you figured it out. He leans down towards Solana saying, the styler is embedded inside this violin. The styler Professor Hastings was planning. the Super Styler. Oh, okay. I mean, I could have sworn that was a little obvious, but hey, there you go. Tiffany says, what all four of us siblings have inside our instruments are the Super Stylers Professor Hastings was planning. Solana says, not only do you control Deoxys and steal the egg, you guys also took Professor Hastings' blueprint? Tiffany says, that's right. And her violin gets reconfigured into the Super Styler as she says, I'll show you, and sends out her disc around Solana's plusle, much to Solana's shock. Tiffany says, the Super Styler is at least 3 times more powerful than your Styler. Big Brother Garrett said to make them suitable for Team Go Rock, he reconstructed them so that we can use the sound of our instrument to manipulate the disc. Perhaps they'd even be able to capture your partner, Plusle. As Plusle starts to get captured, Tiffany mocks Solana, saying, do you get it now? No matter what you do, you won't be able to stop our ambitions. There's no one who can obstruct us in the obtaining of the crown of the sea. We then cut over to the Ranger Brace in Ringtown. Oh, so they're listening into all of this. We see Professor Hastings and Ayori listening as he says, what a thing to happen. And suddenly a voice calls out behind him. That voice just now. They're coming from Solana and Lunix Stylers. The conversation with the enemy, right? Professor Hastings turns and sees Spencer, Joel, and Alita. He says, aren't you in the middle of medical treatment? Are you all right? Spencer says, for the leaders of every base, small wounds like these. But he then winces in pain, saying, is what I'd like to say, but he sits down, saying, truthfully, took everything we had just to get here. How pathetic. Professor Hastings says, don't push yourself. Spencer says, we can't let that go. The young rangers on our mission are doing their best. We can't simply sit back in this situation. Alita says, yes. Based on that, the crown of the sea they mentioned concerns me. Besides that, the crown of the sea they mentioned concerns me. Hastings says, that's right, the crown of the sea. Joel says, do you know about it, Alita? He says, yes, I've heard of it. Somewhere in the vast ocean, the Temple of the Sea is hiding itself and continuously drifting. They say the crown of the sea is hidden inside that. Right, Professor? Hastings says correct, also. Although no one is supposed to be able to see the Temple of the Sea, only one knows how to reach it. They say only Manphy knows. Team Go Rock's true motive is to use Manphy to reach the Temple of the Sea and obtain the crown of the sea. Besides, it is said the one who obtains the crown of the sea will become ruler of the world. Yeah, I had to double check. Yeah, this is in the movie too. Yeah. Spencer says, oh yeah, Professor, where's Lunik? Hastings says, took me a second. With things as they are currently, he's likely fallen at the sea. Spencer says, damn it, that Team Go Rock. There has to be some way that we can support Lunik and Solana from here. Joel says, yeah, I'm looking for possibilities right now. They're at Kuroka Tunnel, close to the entrance of Fall City. We also have the specifics for Solana's location, and we can pick up her sound. However, we're unable to confirm Lunik's location. Hastings says his styler has probably taken heavy damage. He must have been confronting Deoxys. Joel asks, Professor, do you have our restored stylers? Hastings says, yes, but what are you planning to do? Joel says, when the 3 of us encountered Deoxys, my styler was the last remaining one to document the scene. I'd like to observe it once more. Hastings says, yes, but Hinata's Solana's also has the data copied. Joel says, yes, however, we were the ones at the actual scene, so we might be able to find some clues. According to my logic, it's most likely that we cut away to Kuroka Tunnel, where Lunik is being confronted by the boys of Team Go Rock. His disc has just been captured. Lunik says the captured disc is in bits and pieces. Billy laughs, saying, once you lose your disc, you can't capture. You can't Poke assist either, even if you're an excellent ranger wearing the uniform and the emblem 10, the rank 10 emblem. You've just been demoted to an authoritative brat. He brings out the capture device in his guitar, much to Lunik's shock, as he begins to use it on Deoxys. Billy says, what a good feeling. Melody of ambition. High as the sky. Oh, he starts singing. Rhythm of anger deep in the earth. Stand up quickly. Oh, and he has Deoxys switch over to its speed form and it goes in attacking at Lunik, who does his best to dodge out of the way. It then shifts into its defense form as Garrett tells it to halt. Lunik thinks, the styler. Those instruments are the stylers. That's why they didn't stop playing even in the middle of the battle. Their playing transforms the Oxus. When Clyde beats the drum, the Oxus turns into its attack form. When Garrett plays the bass, the Oxus turns into its defense form. And when Billy plays the guitar, the Oxus turns into its speed form. Billy says, looks like you've noticed the Oxus changes forms whenever, according to what we play. That would be correct. We're controlling the Oxus and his transformation with these stylers. When we went after you, the three leaders, Garrett angered it and simply let it rampage. Even then, the leaders weren't able to lay a finger on it. And now we can precisely control the Oxus. You know what this means, right? This is even more difficult than the time when all three leaders challenged to capture the Oxus. But as Lunik rises, he says, you guys manipulating and controlling. Those remarks are rude to the Pokemon, you know. Garrett says, what are you saying? Are you an idiot? As he sends out Scyther. And Scyther gets Lunik by his shoulder and lifts him up with his clothes. Lunik says, what are you doing? Billy says, there's nothing to ask. The battle's over. You lost. You're trash. The place where trash belongs is obvious. And that's where it goes. Plop. He points down as Clyde says, he already looks so small. Maybe he's 10 meters, 15 meters up there. Billy says, Garrett, command Scyther to throw away the trash. Garrett says, sure, but wait a moment. That Minun he has doesn't want it. Before we finish him off, should we capture it? Billy says, doesn't matter, do what you want. Well, Garrett says, yay, then let's make sure, let's have all three of us do it. And they all bring out their super stylers. The super stylers are released. Lunik says, the disc stopped in midair? Garrett says, Oh, don't you know? The discs with the stylers you use can only be used on the ground, eh? And at best, perhaps on the water surface. But we have super stylers. This disc doesn't have following such limitation. It moves freely in altitude. Clyde says, on top of that, not being able to complete the mission, we'll take your partner too. And then you'll be nothing. We'll indulge on your powerlessness, fall to the ground. And Billy says, now, the finale. As Minun starts to be captured, Lunik thinks to himself and sees over to Solana as Solana also catches his eyes. But suddenly, she receives something on her gear saying, mail from Joel? As Tiffany says, do you have time to look at other things? She has camera up the tack with a flash of fire, but Solana brings out Fanfi and has Pokeassist ground. She then asks a Graveler for Pokeassist rock and brings down rocks towards Tiffany. It says, no, geez, you're always running away. Do you think that would work? Solana uses Pokeassist Gengar to try to get away. As Tiffany uses Ekans, Lunik watches as Solana is trying her best. As he says, hey, Minun, if everything looks like we're done for, that should be how that's written. I have a plan that's sink or swim. Stick with me to the end and believe in me. We're jumping right here. Oh, yes. That's the only option is really down, so why not? And this is it, the last chapter, chapter 5. I haven't really been calling out the chapters, but there's nothing that really sets it up like this, since I'm pretty sure this was just a webcomic. As Lunik is lifted into the air by Scyther, he says, so high. I've been to the top of buildings a number of times for fighting fires and providing aid, but this isn't your average height. But I have no choice that the Oxus, Team Go-Rock, is controlling it and making it their tool in order to save Dioxys. And he rips away from Scyther, saying, this is the only way. The three siblings are all shocked, saying, he jumped? Crazy. He doesn't have a parachute. We're a flying Pokemon. Plus being enveloped by the disc. Link says, it's true that I don't have a parachute or a flying Pokemon, but I still have my senses. I became a ranger because I acquired and fostered these senses. Back over in Ringtown at the ranger base, Spencer brings out several letters saying, Lunik, stay safe. Alita says, Spencer, what's that? Spencer says, letters. Long ago, Lunik wrote about his passion to become a ranger and send them to me. There are 7 of them. When he faltered on his missions, when he felt crushed, how much courage he had to pull up. At first, he just kept thinking about being gallant. Spencer wanted to become a cool ranger. However, gradually, and Lunix's letters read, if I become a ranger, I want to help humans and Pokemon. I thought about why I want to help humans. That's because I love smiles. When humans and Pokemon smile, I become happy as well. I thought about what is needed to become a ranger. Requires a strong sense and strength. I'm currently training myself to acquire those. There is one more important thing I thought about. On top of acquiring sense and strength, I must also be kind and honest person, so that I never forget my initial feelings of wanting to save people. Meanwhile, while Spencer's reading this, you see Lunix call over a magneton to charge up his capture device, while Minun reaches inside its little bag and brings out an extra disc, handing it over to Lunix. Lunix puts inside its capture device. Oh, geez. And uses the Poke Assist of electricity to lessen his fall. Dang. Clyde says, use the recoil he captured earlier to recover the Styler's energy. Billy says, charge the spare disc Minun was carrying. Garrett says, at the moment of the disc launch, Minun used this electricity to slow their fall and avoid a critical impact. Thank you, guys. Oh, suddenly, Minun's electrical blast destroys Billy's guitar, as well as Clyde's drum and Garrett's bass. As Garrett says, Minun cut the capture line. The energy's turning back on the Super Styler and breaking it. Oh, right, he did. Billy says Deoxys is formed. As Deoxys is shifted back to its normal self, Lunix says it's back to its normal form. I'll release you, Deoxys, from the pain of being manipulated, from the frustration of being controlled. The capture reads okay. Lunix and Deoxys lock eyes, and Deoxys takes off. Tiffany says, huh? Deoxys was released? As she looks up, only for her line to be released and destroyed by Plusle. The Manphy egg is sent flying right into Solana's hands. Solana says, we did it, as Tiffany yells out for her big brother, running over to him, saying the egg was taken. Billy says, how did you know that the only way to capture Deoxys was in its normal form? Lunix says, my coworker told me. She's a bit of a loudmouth, but she's the most reliable coworker there is. Garrett says, you liar. But Lunix says, if you think it's a lie, have your Scyther take you to the sky. Billy does just that, having Cypher raise both him and Tiffany up high into the sky. Oh my god, really? And we see the entire time Tiffany was chasing Solana around, she was having a message written out. As Billy says, normal. A message written in Poke Asset, and in English no less. Tiffany says, I thought she was just using Poke Assets to get away. Billy begins to laugh, and as he lands, he says, fine then, we'll retreat for today, but the next time we meet Ranger Lunix, will annihilate all of you and the entire Ranger Union organization. And in a flash, they disappear. Lunix runs over to Solana, who's still covered in goop, saying, hey, are you Solana? She says, yes. The one who gave me the message? Oh, it's the same as the first chapter. She says, yes. Then that means you're my coworker. She says, yes. He then picks her up, much to her shock. And he says, okay. Thanks for helping me. She says, hey, idiot. She then says, oh, well, I'm exhausted from all the running around, so this is just great. And if it's thanks, Joel is the one who sent the information, so Lunix says, yeah, I got it. He then turns to the group of Pokemon who helped them, saying to the Pokemon who helped us out today, thank you very much. We'll release you now, and all the Pokemon take off. Lunix then looks to the sky, seeing Deoxys, saying, that's right. Deoxys, you take care of yourself. And Deoxys then takes off into the sky. Narration reads, mission complete. Ranger Lunix and Solana return to base, gathering area's Fall City, Pokemon Professor Hastings' lab. As Lunix and Solana return with Cameron, Lunix says, we've come back. But Solana is shocked, seeing it's sparkling clean. It's usually like this, and she sees a whole mess inside Hastings' lab. Hastings says, are you surprised? He already cleaned up for me. I was supposed to look after her, but it ended up being the opposite. Much to the two's shock, he then cut to Hastings' Pokemon lab. As he says, her organization skills are genius, so I've placed my hopes on her. She'll be working as my lab assistant starting for today. Wait, really? Has she ever come back in the game? No. It seems like she's mostly a comic character. Interesting. Though Lunik and Solana are shocked by this revelation. Now, as all the Rangers gather around the Manthe egg, Professor Hastings says, yes, this is Manthe's egg. But what do we do with it now that we've retrieved it safely? After all, Fiore region doesn't have any precedent with this. Joel says, there's nothing that says we can't hatch an egg. In fact, there's no precedent that says we can't raise a Pokemon. Spencer says, well, if it's about Ranger activities, I have the confidence for that, but Arleta says, too much for you? Lunik says, the guys in Team Go Rock mentioned something about the way to hatch the egg, but he remembers Clyde saying, we got it, we're going to hatch it, of course. That's an egg, so it's going to hatch, duh. Lunik says, maybe we should catch them again and ask. Cameron says, no way. There's no way we can catch fast escapers like that. They're probably in some faraway region already, you know? But Hastings pats Cameron on the back saying, yeah, that's it, Cameron. Faraway region, in other words, a region with Pokemon trainers would know how to hatch an egg. We can entrust this Manthe egg to a trainer from another region. The Rangers say, to hatch the egg, entrust it to a trainer? Oh, does this tie in with Diamond and Pearl? Huh. Lunik says, but a region with trainers would be. He then turns to Iori looking at the egg, and he asks, now that I think of it, Iori, you said you moved from a region with trainers, right? What region did you come from? Iori says, the Sinnoh region. Yeah. Okay, so this tie in with the Diamond and Pearl arc? Hastings says, all right, it's decided. We'll entrust the egg to someone in the Sinnoh region. Starting now, we'll make a big recruitment for finding the one we should entrust the egg to in the Sinnoh region. He rushes around the lab, creating a mess, saying, oh, hurry. Joel then says to Iori, just when you cleaned it up. But Solana continues looking at the egg, and Lunik catches sight of this. He says, what's wrong? Are you regretting not being able to meet Manthe now? Solana says, that's not it. Would that be you, Lunik? Lunik says, don't kid around. I'm not interested. Solana says, that's something only the truly interested person would say. Lunik says, oh, is that so? And Solana says, that's how it is. Suddenly, Joel gets a communication. He answers it saying, this is Falls City Ranger Joel. Yes. Everyone, we received a request. There's an outbreak of, I have no idea what that is. Grimer. Oh, that's their Japanese name? That's weird. Kind of figured as much. There's an outbreak of Grimer in the underground sewage. Sludge is overflowing and the citizens are incredibly troubled. He commands Lunik and Solana saying, go to the underground sewage and capture all the Grimer. This is a mission. Will you go? Lunik, Solana, they give a salute saying, Roger. All +1 minor jump in the air. As Lunik and Solana rush out of the office, Lunik says, this is our kind of thing after all. Solana says, that's right. When there are troubled people, we're needed to help them. Lunik says, let's finish this all in one swoop. We're helping people today. As Hastings and Iori watch, Iori says, Lunik and the others are sure enthusiastic. Hastings says, yes, they love their work at heart. Because of them, we were able to retrieve the egg. Iori turns to the egg saying, that's great, Manthe. Lunik and the others protected you. Next, someone from Sinnoh region will hatch you. Is that a girl? So, is it Dawn? She then sings a lullaby. Manthe, sweet dreams, please sleep now. Manthe, the precious prince of the sea. And we see a message up on the internet. Recruiting message to all Sinnoh region Pokemon trainers. We found a Manthe egg. For trainers who would like to raise it, please contact the Pokemon Rangers and send your request number from Ferrara Region Pokemon Ranger. So the character who is Dawn gets the egg. Interesting. I thought it would be more of a loose connection that tied the stories together, but it seems like this is something that leads directly into Diamond and Pearl. Okay, then I'm actually really glad that I read this. See, at first I thought maybe this was nothing more than a very loose thing. You know, it'd be a little bit fun, a little bit interesting, and then I go about my business. But seeing this is like, no, this seems like it's gonna be a plot point for the Diamond and Pearl arc. Okay, I actually can't wait to get around to that. This was pretty interesting. I wish the translation had at least gone with the English names, but what can you do? It's actually unfortunate that Viz doesn't have this translated and available for purchase, considering it actually does tie into something though. But I doubt it's too required. I feel like there would have been a bigger push for it all to connect together if that was the case. But this was actually pretty fun. You see the Rangers. Like I said before, the Pokemon Rangers are actually some interesting characters that I really am sad that the whole Pokemon Rangers thing seems to have just kind of faded away over time. Shoot, when was the last Pokemon Rangers game? 2010, with a re-release on the Wii U in 2016. So yeah, it's been almost 10 years now, time of recording, since anything Pokemon Ranger had really hit the scene. Yeah, I think this might be something that's been kind of forgotten. That is a shame. And it was tied to the DS, so even more so. I've seen some games that have been remastered and remade for the Switch, but I don't know if Pokemon Rangers could be one of those. Again, because I never really played the games outside of a small sneak peek. But we'll see. It's an interesting concept that I do wish would kind of return to a certain degree. But, well, then again, Pokemon Snap had a comeback, so you never know. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. No spoilers, please, on where all of this goes, or at the very least, keep it vague. And until next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.